Hey, and welcome to another Cash for Your Home podcast episode. Today I have the amazing Carlos and Lisa Cachon from the Naples area. They're the Southwest Florida realtors with the Cachon Realty Group. And I'm so excited to have them here today. Carlos and Lisa, thank you so much for coming. Really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Yeah, thanks for having us. We appreciate it.
So let me just start out by asking you some questions if you don't mind. So you guys are in Southwest Florida. You're in the Naples area. And how long have you been in real estate?
Over 20 years. We've been originally with Remax for 15 years. After that, we were a team at Coldwell Banker for about 5 years, and the rest of the time we've had our own brokerage.
So with your own brokerage, can I ask why you decided to go with your own brokerage? Is it like a family business?
It is a family business.
We also went to our own brokerage because we wanted to offer programs that we were limited to offering to our clients when we were with the corporations like Coldwell Banker or Remax. They wouldn't allow us to offer our buyer guarantee or other things that help our clients. So we wanted to make sure we could give them everything possible to make the transaction smooth and simple for them.
Yeah, it was easy to see when you're working at one of the corporate type companies, Coldwell Banker, Remax, where their intent and their ideal client and who they're marketing to is hiring realtors. So they not that they lose kind of the focus, and at least what was important to us was helping sellers and buyers buy and sell homes. And when you're not allowed to use programs that help and guarantees that help buyers and sellers, it kind of limits, what is your what's important to you and what was important to
Well,
us.
that's what makes us different from other agents as well.
Absolutely.
That's an interesting perspective. I hadn't really thought of this before, but from what I hear you saying is that kind of big corporate real estate, their goal is for them to hire more realtors.
Right. Their goal is not what's going to benefit the seller or the buyer, how to make that transaction happen. They have guidelines that you have to follow. Um, you can't do anything different than everybody else does. So with us having these exclusive programs, they told us, can't do it.
Yeah.
So in order to be able to offer that to our buyers and sellers, we had to open our own brokerage.
Yeah, very simple things like something as easy as we have a buyer satisfaction guarantee. If someone buys a home through us, we give them a guarantee for 12 months that if they're not happy with that home for whatever reason, we'll sell it for free. We won't charge them a commission. Well, we couldn't do that at these big brokerage names. Everyone has to offer the same things, and sometimes something that could benefit a buyer or a seller, which that's a definite benefit, doesn't benefit them from a money financial standpoint. So they, again, would not allow us to do that.
That's
Right.
so interesting. I just had never thought of you know big box brokerages in terms of their limitations and their benefits. That's and
It's just like in any corporation you work with, they have rules you have to follow. It's the same thing.
It's so interesting. So that goes back to the phrase "mom and pop shop," right?
Yep.
So then let me ask you this: so what do each of you specialize in the business? Lisa, can I ask you to go first? What do you first of all, what do you specialize in the business, and what do you love about it? Why are you in real estate?
Well, I love real estate because I love helping people find their dream home. And I love decorating and with list properties. I'm very good at advertising and marketing. We do have somebody that works for us full time, but I do oversee everything that is put out to social media and Google and things like that with our advertising. So I really enjoy that. That's my passion.
That's excellent, excellent. And what about you, Carlos? What's your
I'm a people person. I'm a high I personality. I love working with people. I love the negotiating part. I like the whole contract, the negotiating, kind of setting up systems. I love systems. I love structure. So we all work off of a system. It's a very good system that helps buyers and sellers. And once this is, it's in motion, it's you can kind of step away a little bit and let other people jump in and take over some of that responsibility. And I like that. I like the management part of it. Really, the whole process.
So can I pry and ask if you've got any other family in the business?
Our daughter, she works with us. She's actually she was a teacher before. She's on maternity leave at the moment, but very good. She's got a master's degree and very involved in
And
the day to days. Yeah.
yeah.
Does a lot of the training, a lot of the videos, that sort of thing. But she also works with buyers and sellers.
Videos. Okay, so you guys have mentioned a few times different things about marketing. So you said videos, you said socials. I'm familiar with the status quo for realtors, which is they sign you up for a listing, and that is the end of the road. And then maybe you get showings, or maybe you don't. So, what is it about you guys that's different? What are you doing with socials? What are you doing with videos? What's the story here?
We do a lot of advertising on social media. We do walkthrough videos. We do professional videos. We do trying to think of what else.
I'd say our what we do different from the typical real estate agent or company is we use direct response marketing, which is very simple. We're offering sellers and buyers what they want. In return, when they raise their hand, because of our advertising and marketing, that of course we get their contact information. We're doing this early on in their search process through the internet and through different pillars of advertising and marketing. Some of it is through email, some of it is through Google, pay-per-click, social media. It takes a lot today to get these buyers and sellers even early on in the game, and make that connection,
Yes.
as opposed to, yes, just going listing a property and being
And
done.
another important thing to mention is that we do Matterport 3D tours on our properties, which definitely boosts you up when people are doing searches on homes.com, for instance. And we do seller updates weekly, showing them how many views have been looked at, seeing the property. And are we getting showings? And that way we can get the property sold in the quickest time possible.
Yeah, there's a lot. It's not just a simple put it in the MLS and sit and pray for someone else to sell it. We don't advocate that responsibility. We do more, try to do more than anyone else to give the property the most exposure, which then brings the most interest and then brings offers,
The
showings,
highest
offers,
price,
and
yes.
of course the highest price.
It reminds me of a phrase I heard one time from a pastor. He said, "Pray like it's completely up to God, but work like it's completely up to you."
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Plan for the worst and then do everything else.
that begs the question: how many transactions have you guys done over the years?
In over 20 years, we've done over 1,000 transactions. We've done very well, and we've maintained even during the time that the market was very difficult, 2008 to 2012, 13. Those years were very hard, and a lot of agents, a lot of realtors got out of the business. Those were very good years for us, and it's about thinking out of the box, looking for where's the niche, what market can we take advantage of right now, and be the most useful. And back then, it was foreclosures, short sales, and we did a lot of business during that time. So we've maintained um, a certain sales height of sales or a certain number through the years, through the last 20 something years. And everyone has ups and downs, but it's been very steady for us.
What are some interesting things? If you could pick one thing that's been incredibly interesting that's happened, that you've been a witness to through this time, what would that be? What's the most interesting transaction you've had so far,
This is
or
a good one.
situation?
Interesting as far as good or challenging or.
entertaining.
Entertaining. We've had a lot of entertaining, and 20 something years. I've seen things. There's so many. Um, I think the one that caught us, that was one of the strangest things that ever happened to us, is actually it was a listing that Lisa took in, and we helped sell this nurse's condo, and she wasn't doing very well, and had to move out health wise. It was a second floor, and did everything. We were very worried she'd be able to move everything out of the condo, but she did, and Lisa went by like on a Friday, and she found a place to move in with some family, and Lisa walked the unit, and everything was good for Monday's closing. Well, over the weekend, she moved in with her, I think it was her brother, a family member, and apparently there was some issues, altercation. There was some problems, and they had her Baker Act. So the brother calls me on Sunday, the day before closing, and says, "Hey, we had a real bad meltdown, and she's been Baker acted, and couldn't tell me where she went. So here we are Monday with no seller to sign and close, and that was a strength. We ended up closing it. So again, that was one of those stories where it was very challenging. Took a lot of time and effort, but we got it done.
But as an example of our practice that we follow always with all of our transactions, they're not always smooth and easy. Sometimes you have to look for alternative methods to get the property closed, and we're very good at that.
Yeah, I could tell. I could
Yeah.
tell. That's where teams come into play. You cover each other in the way you approach things. You think one way, you think the other, and
Yeah.
it's a real support mechanism and a balance, and it's huge. I've seen it before.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. The team and having people in the right positions to do things, having that structure and that system is huge today.
Well, then let me ask you this: what are you guys doing that they might not let you in kind of a big box brokerage situation? What are some?
Well, that's very easy to answer. So we offer many guarantees that other agents do not offer. Like Carlos had mentioned earlier, the buyer guarantee, which if a buyer purchases a home through us and within 1 year they're not happy, we'll sell it for free. We offer a guarantee to buyers that they will guarantee to save $5,000 off a purchase, or we'll pay the difference. We offer our your home sold guarantee.
Well, yeah, we have the your home sold guaranteed. So if a buyer had a home to sell and they were interested in buying, moving up to one of our listings, and they were wanting to list their home with us, then we guarantee a cash offer to them. We have a cancellation guarantee,
Right.
which is great because a lot of sellers are like, "Wow, 6 months, that's a long time." So we believe in customer service, and if you're not happy, you list with us and you're not happy for any reason, then we put that in writing and allow you to cancel without a penalty.
And a lot of agents do not do that.
Yeah, we have
charge a penalty.
Yeah, we have other programs and guarantees that we offer as well. That's an example of the most popular. Yeah.
So one of the things that I wanted to ask you about specifically is when it comes to listing a home, and I've got very limited real estate myself personally, even in just my family and kind of going through the process with them. But one thing I've noticed is that nobody ever lists. I mean, regular people don't list brand new homes. And even if you were listing a brand new home, it's hard to kind of get a feel for what it actually is worth. So I'm just thinking in terms of like what I know. I know that the difference between used and new means that used has a variable price. Like it's really hard to determine the price on something that's pre-owned, so to speak. And so then we have houses that are very different from each other within the same neighborhood, even. And so, I mean, you can say it's 2 bedroom, 3 bath, but I look at my home and I think of the square footage and the number of bedrooms and baths, and I think it's probably worth less than the one across the street with the same features for different reasons.
Mhm.
It's how in the world can you possibly know what the right price is to list a home for?
Well, Carlos is very good at this, and he's going to
Yeah,
explain.
we do something that's called our competitive pricing window, and we look at the market. We look a regular CMA or a desktop valuation is based on one price. We give a range, and that range takes a lot of things into consideration, like comparables. We don't just look at solds because a sold listing, depending on what market you're in, can be off. It may have gone into contract 60 days ago. By the time it closed, that the value may have changed. So we look at active listings and we want to say, okay, what's coming new on the market? How is that affecting the value of homes today? And that we also take pendings, and actives and pendings are super important because a pending is an active that went under contract. Something that home was priced right and therefore went under contract. We don't know what it sold for. So by using all three comp types, looking at the condition of the property, um, do they what are some of the details with that area? Micro market, is it in a flood zone? What condition is it in? We put all of this in we take all this into consideration and come up with a value. And depending on the seller's motivation and what they prefer is how we price it within that range. And this helps to sell our properties and why we sell a large percentage of our properties, and we're able to get 2.5% more than what the average is sold list price in an area.
Right. So when we meet with our sellers, we give them a range, and then we discuss with them, like, are they need to sell right away? Or do they prefer to wait to get the most money? So that would determine where we go out at. But the values that we, go to are very accurate.
And it takes a lot of time and a lot of research to come up with that. And you definitely have to visit the property. You have to see the property. You have to understand even the sellers. What's their situation? What's their motivation? And what are their goals? What are their preferences? Is it a time thing? Is it a money situation? And all of that goes into our pricing strategy.
Wow.
Yes. Location,
Yeah.
views,
Of course,
upgrades, everything.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was informative. That was informative. So what else don't I know about what you do? What's another thing like this that most people might really not be aware of at all?
I mean, we have other programs that we didn't
What we do,
discuss.
seller reports.
Our marketing plan is very good, and we send out seller reports every 2 weeks. The seller reports are very similar to the CPW. They're very detailed, data driven. We keep KPIs. We measure everything we do, and we have a goal, and then we measure against that goal. So, for instance, our showings, we look and we track. The MLS will give us what are the average showings, monthly average showings for an area. So if we're getting a listing in a certain development or area, well, we're going to look at that. And right now, Naples is averaging, depending on where you're at, it can be from 1.5 to 3 showings a month, which is not good. Well, we want to do better than that. And if we have good marketing and good advertising and we're priced right and our pricing strategy is correct, then we should be able to improve on that. And we do. So we average anywhere from 4 to 6. We've had 10 and 15 showings a month, which just reflects on our marketing and our advertising. So we have something that's called also a certified pre-owned home, which is great. And what we do there is before we go live with a listing, we'll proactively do a appraisal. We'll do a title search. We'll do a home inspection. We offer a warranty for that property, and it kind of helps that property stand out against the competition. It's kind of like when you go to a used car lot, you have the as-is car, and then you have the certified pre-owned car. So we've done all this proactively in a way that these are all things that can come up during the real estate process once you're under contract. And with the market, especially the way it is today, you're going to have agents and buyers that take advantage of that time against your sellers to renegotiate a price. And it's there's more to it than that, but that's been very effective as well. to help us market. It's an out of the box idea. No other agent that I'm aware of is doing that in our area. And it's been very helpful in selling properties, selling them quickly, headache free, and for top dollar.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. I love the idea of a certified pre-owned home. How
It
long
gives
does it
the home
take?
more value.
Is it difficult? My home was built in 1980, and it had some upgrades done in 1982. It finished out half the basement, and it's a three bedroom, three bath, 2,000 square foot. Could I assume that you could quote unquote warranty my home? Like
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And it has a lot to do with once you have all of this, you're prepared if these come up. You're bringing it up ahead of time. They're not going to come up. Hey, like for your home, for instance, we have somebody that goes, a buyer comes in and they do their inspection, and then they come back with a list of maybe cosmetic things, and they try to renegotiate. So by already having an inspection, excuse me, we know if there's anything wrong with the home, we're ahead of the game, and we disclose these things. Now, from a contract standpoint, they can't really use some of these items as a negotiation because we've disclosed these prior to going under contract.
So there's levels to this. There's
There's a
different.
lot of levels, a lot of benefits. It's definitely a winner. And what we have found is the homes that we do advertise as certified pre-owned end up selling for more money. End up selling quicker. Um, and it's just it's a benefit all the way around for our sellers.
So the competitive pricing window of the certified pre-owned homes. Now, I have to say that when people say your home sold guaranteed, there's a part of me that winces because what does that even mean? How does that work? And why do you offer it? Can you guys elaborate on that?
Yes, so that's geared towards buyers mostly that have a home to sell. So 80% of buyers with a home to sell need to sell their home before they buy a new home. It's the catch 22 of real estate. Am I going to get stuck with two homes or no home at all? And what we do is our plan is easy. If you're going to buy you're moving up to one of our listings, you're listing your home with us, then we guarantee a cash offer on your home.
And then by guaranteeing the cash offer on their home, they can make an offer on another home with no contingencies.
Yeah, on one as long as it's one of our listings.
Right.
So, yeah, that's always been a question of mine. If I want to sell my home and buy another home, I'm going to end up in a hotel for a month or two mortgages, and so this is the solution for that. That's what you're.
This is the solution for that, and it's not for everybody, because there's a bit of convenience to it, and of course the offer on the home may not be the highest offer, but it allows them to do all of this without having to go through what you just said, having to move, put your stuff in storage, many inconveniences which have a cost to them as well.
Right. Increase your fees. Yeah.
Do you all stage every home that you list? What
Every
goes in?
vacant home. Yeah. Every vacant home we virtually stage. If there's furniture in the home, I may do a little staging, adding some things, but yes, we do staging on all homes.
So if I
Unless
if
it's
I
being sold turnkey furnished.
okay, all right. If I called your office and said, "Hey, I just inherited a home. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to sell my home. I'm not in a rush, but it is important." What would next steps be? What does that look like? What do you do from there?
Well, we would make an appointment to go meet with them so we could see the property and give them an accurate valuation of what they could sell for. Once we come to that agreement, we just send a listing agreement when within 1 week we have it listed.
It's real important that we meet with a seller because sellers just assume that all realtors are the same, and they're not, and nor are the services that they offer. If we take a Coldwell Banker, for instance, and you take 10 Coldwell Banker agents and you ask all 10 of them, hey, why should I list my home with you? What makes you different? What do you do different? What do you do out of the box? What do you do proactively to sell my home? What's in it for me? A lot of them are going to say we're hardworking. We work for the biggest company in the real estate company in the U.S. or we won this award. Most agents do not have a system and a plan to benefit the seller and to show how they get more money. We do. So it's important that we meet with the seller and go over that and show them the differences and not just rely on them assuming, hey, all realtors are the same. It really doesn't matter. We're a commodity, who we list our home with.
And I guess one thing we forgot to mention was that we do international advertising as well,
Yeah.
which a lot of agents do not do. And when it advertises in different countries like Japan, it'll be in Japanese or in
We translate
Paris,
to the
French, wherever it is, it translates to the language so that people can actually see our properties that we have listed. And we do get called from international calls for people looking to buy a home here.
It's extensive. Our marketing and advertising is extensive. And most of the time after we sit with a seller and we review it all and show them examples, 99% of them are very impressed. We do, and that's important because if you try to go and just list a property based on what I tell them that it's worth or what I say I can sell it for, it's not effective, right? You don't make decisions on,
No,
hey,
it's very important in today's market to know what it can sell for, so that when we list it, we can actually be getting showings and actually get it under contract. If people just look at list price, what things are listed for, and put it at a price similar to that home it may not work for that home, depending on does it have a pool, does it not, the view, upgrades, everything. So that's very important.
How often does the price that you guys come to on a listing match what the owner of the home has in their head for a number?
Mm,
it depends. You know how that is. Everybody thinks, their home is always worth a lot, and a lot of sellers typically will look at what's for sale, and then because they have access to that through Zillow and some of these other websites, so they're like, hey, the one down the street is listed for 800,000. Yeah, but it's been listed for 800,000 for 7 months or 6 months or 4 months.
it's not moving.
It's not moving. There's more to coming up with a correct value and a correct price than that. So sometimes it takes a little education,
Right.
kind of going over things. But once you have facts and data and you sit with someone and you show them the facts and data and what you're going to do different and how you're going to create more demand for the property, it becomes very realistic. But we do encounter sellers sometimes that don't care, and then they're very fixed on a certain number, which is a value that they've created. That's
Right,
not,
which,
not realistic.
we could go to market at that, but it's not gonna sell at that. By the time we sell, they're back to what we told them that we'd sell
Right.
for. And that before, yeah, I
I
even went
think
to market.
what's important to me as a consumer in this day and age, it's not that we agree on everything. It's that if you say this number and I say this number, how are you going to respond and how are we going to work this out? That's what matters to me. I think that's the concern that people would have is if we disagree, how are you going to handle that? And is that
And we
going to
have
make
we have a system for that. So we have a marketing plan, and we give that range, right? And we're willing to test the market, and we're willing to satisfy sellers and say, okay, we're going to go this with the understanding what's our backup plan? What happens, seller, Mr. Seller, if your price, if we're getting no showings, if even with our advertising and marketing and everything, it's we're overpriced. Well, you got to have a strategy. You got to have certain things that you're measuring, to and a goal right, of what you're going to hit. So if our goal is to have minimum 4 to 5 showings a month, that's at least one showing a week. And we're not getting that. Well, 2 weeks in, we need to, readjust, look at, and not just readjust and change the price. We need to look at a seller report that is focused on what's happening in the market. Did any other properties go under contract that were comparable to ours? If so, why did that property go under contract and not us? Now, in some cases, maybe no property has gone into contract. We haven't lost any opportunities. It may not be a price issue. It may just be a demand or a market issue. But you got to look at all these facts and all these numbers, um, and analyze it in a way that you're not making the wrong decision. You're not going and making a price adjustment just because you haven't had that many showings, but maybe not that many people have showings in that area. Maybe we're hitting 2 or 3. You see what I'm saying? It's really case by case. There's so many variables that you have to go back and check these. We like to do that every 2 weeks and adjust if needed.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Wow. It sounds like you're very in touch with the data, the analytics, the marketing. You have these programs and services that are going to benefit the seller. What about buyers? What if somebody doesn't have a house to sell? I mean, do you still want to work with them if they just want to buy a house maybe for the first time or new to the area?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. So we have buyer programs. One of the first ones that I mentioned is if they buy a home through us and within 12 months they get relocated, they have an issue. Well, you just bought the house. When you add in all the expenses of a closing and a realtor and now having to resell that property, and commissions are a part of that. Our part and what we do is we'll sell it, won't charge them a commission for us. So they can turn around and net more, uh, without without
Right,
having to
and
take a
will
loss.
that say $5,000 guarantee?
We do offer them. We promise to save them at least $5,000. That will pay them a certain amount of money. We have the cancellation guarantee, works both for sellers and buyers. If a buyer today and day after the changes a year ago in August, or maybe now 2 years, where buyers need to have an agreement with their agent, or realtors have to have an agreement with their buyers. We allow them, they can cancel if they're not happy with our service at any time. We also give buyers access to homes that are not on the market, which is huge. So we will share with them for sale by owners. We do a lot of advertising for cash, people looking for cash offers. Some of these sellers aren't ready to go on the market, so they're not listed anywhere on the internet or the MLS. We'll share those properties as well.
You offer, I think I read somewhere that you were offering buyer's contracts before it was required.
Buyer agreements.
Buyer,
We were using buyer agreement contracts probably 2 years before.
oh wow. So this whole situation wasn't new to you, wasn't unexpected.
No,
Yeah,
no, we were ready for it.
Wow. That's good. That's good.
We welcomed it actually because that's the way it should be.
Have you run into situations where that kind of made it obvious to you that that's the way it should be, maybe in the past and in the years of experience doing this, or was it just always a logical thing?
It was a logical thing. I believe that, and it's kind of a conflict of interest that you have a seller paying for a buyer's. It's almost like if you were paying for someone else's attorney, right? The agreement should be between the buyer and their realtor, the seller and their realtor, and it's negotiable. So we're not saying, hey, buyer agent shouldn't get compensated, but it should be something that's negotiable at the time of contract.
Interesting. there's a lot that you guys have talked about. There's a lot of programs and services and offers and a lot of experience and details. Kind of makes me want to sell my home, even though I'm not in Southwest Florida and I don't need to sell my home. Uh,
I
what
think
would you
people
say
have to
to
say the cash offer guarantee.
Go ahead.
what's that?
I think
What's,
what we, okay, what?
She was mentioning the cash offer guarantee.
so
But
what is the cash offer guarantee?
it goes with the guaranteed home sale as well. It's for a buyer. Yes, you're right, Lisa. For buyers, I'm sorry, for sellers, we guarantee cash offers within within the same day we can get it. It really depends on how quickly we can get pictures and the details on the property.
So you guarantee a cash offer. Again, in doing my research, it looked like, if I read this right, you offer multiple cash offers.
Yes, yes.
How how do you offer multiple cash offers? Explain this to me, please.
We've over the years we've made contacts with different investors, both local and out of state, larger, middle, and large investors, as well as we work through a portal that's connected to several over 60 real estate investment trusts. So we're able to share the property prior to it going on the market with all of these investors, and they compete with one another and send in their best offers, and we share that with our sellers.
Okay, so it just and again, I lack information, but I'm thinking if I get multiple cash offers for the same home, then wouldn't the highest offer be the only offer? What separates the offers enough to put them in different categories? I mean, isn't it just only about the price? What's
It's
so
about the
why
bottom
multiple?
number.
Yeah, it's about the net number, like Lisa's saying. So it depends on each of them have different fees that they offer. Some of them have different programs. So it's a two-step closing. They'll buy the property, close on it, they fix it up, and then they'll relist the property with us and then sell it again in the second market. So typically the two-step, there's a holdback, and which is actually benefits the seller. If the property sells more than what we went to market at, the seller gets the difference. If it sells less, it comes out of that holdback. And it's the investor's way of kind of sharing the risk with the original seller. But it's
The
different
net.
programs.
Okay, and so the net number, that makes sense. So it's not just the highest offer; it's the net
Right.
number, and there's terms. There are terms
Terms.
per
Yeah.
offer.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, that makes sense. That makes
Some
sense.
of them may allow you to stay in the home
Uh,
for an extended period of time, and so there's different programs, different offers. What we like to do is typically when we go over these cash offers, and like you said, we may just go with the best cash offer. We don't have to review, three or four of them, and some of them are lower. And if it's just a straight cash and the terms are the same, we go with the best one. But we also like to compare those to our guaranteed price. And our guaranteed price, or we pay the difference, is exactly that. And that's a retail marketing. So cash offers aren't for everybody. They're not for every seller. Um, they're a convenience, and convenience comes with a price.
Yeah.
But if some sellers may want to go, depending on what their priorities and what their goals are, may want to go with a traditional sale. Well, if we're going to go that route, then we have all the guarantees and the programs that we can offer, and one of them is that we'll come to an agreement on a guaranteed price, and we'll pay them the difference if we don't reach that.
when I purchased this house during COVID in 2020, we were able to negotiate because at that particular week or that weekend, our offer was the only offer on the table, and they would have another offer by the following weekend, probably based on the neighborhood and so on and so forth. but at that moment they did not have a second offer. So when you say that you have all these investors and multiple cash offers, I can't help but think to myself, now every single one of your listings already has a second offer, which puts you in a position of strength in negotiating.
Yes. Yeah. Leverage. Absolutely.
I wonder if people realize that
No. The other thing they don't realize is we can go, even sometimes we can go to a listing appointment and already have a cash offer. So not only do we show up with more than, we can have more than one cash offer opportunity, but we also show up with a list of buyers that we have in waiting. So it's not just our cash offer platform. Our database of buyers in waiting is well over 6,000. We're close to 7,000. And that's a result of our advertising, our direct response advertising and marketing, where buyers and sellers are raising their hands and they're coming into our database as we give them whatever it is that we've promised, whatever information and so on, we fulfill it. They come into our database. So a lot of times between the cash offer, the investors, and our database, we get an agreement to market a property. I don't like calling them listing agreements, and we may have multiple cash offers, including retail offers, from interested buyers just from our database. So by the time we hit the market, we've got a head start. We don't just start marketing and advertising a property from the time it goes in the MLS. We start at least a week to 10 days before that.
that makes sense because we had Barb Schlinker from Colorado Springs on the podcast a few months ago, and she said that when she showed up to a listing, because of the buyers in her database, people that had inquired and submitted the information they were looking for, when she showed up to a listing, sometimes it was possible to actually say, I have X number of buyers looking for this kind of home in this area in this price range.
Yep.
And I thought that was just genius. You guys have the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it helps, and it's just about through the years creating this database and then retargeting, remarketing that database on a weekly basis, which we do, and keeping them active. And some people come into our database aren't ready to buy. And there was an article I read once that it takes a typical buyer takes about a year, sometimes more, before they make a decision to actually buy. And it's just part of getting them early on in the process, bringing them in, and then nurturing them until they're ready to make that, and developing a relationship with them.
It feels to me like you guys have this fortress of ability to get a home sold. It's overwhelming the amount of effort and design and strategy and engineering that's gone into your business to make sure that the home sells. And it
Yes,
just makes you wonder, is that common? Like, how often does a home not sell for others? And how, like, why do you put so much energy and thought into making sure the home sells? How often does it not sell?
it's a very high percentage.
And other people's listings
If you
themselves.
look at just the MLS statistics alone, it's like 60% or more homes don't sell. Yeah,
Another thing important to mention is we get many listings that have been listed with another agent, did not sell, and we sell it.
and that's true. We had 1 month, I don't know if it was July or June, we had 2 or 3 properties that sold that month that were all listed previously with another agent, with another realtor. And for whatever reason, and there's many reasons, it can be communication, over promising on a price. Again, most realtors, unfortunately, it's like 70% of homeowners that have used a realtor do not use that same realtor again. And why? Because it's typical for, and what's happened in the past is a realtor will list a property, put it in the MLS, maybe do some open houses, which is not an effective at all way to market a property. We just went over a couple of examples and programs and things we do proactively to sell a home. all the different pillars of advertising and marketing that we use, putting it in the MLS. We didn't even mention that. We go into like 3 different MLSs, which helps, but we don't rely on that. We're not advocating the responsibility of selling the home to another realtor. So, open houses, we do everyday open houses. We advertise them. We don't believe in today and day the open houses just don't work. You have to spend money. You have to be on the internet, and you have to meet sellers and buyers early on in the process.
I guess it's just my own lack of experience, but in my head, like I bought a home, it sold because I bought it. It never really crossed my mind how difficult it might be to sell it. So I guess that's where it's kind of blown my mind that so many houses don't sell or don't sell with the first agent that lists them, and how many agents failed to sell a home, and how much you guys put into making sure the home sells. And so
Right.
that's really kind of like,
Yeah.
wow.
Even the advertising, it's like most realtors do the same advertising. They advertise themselves or the company they're with. We identify, depending on the property, and we're going back to the CPW, is who is the ideal buyer for your property, and we want to make sure that our advertising, our marketing, targets that ideal buyer. So the first thing is identifying who are we advertising and marketing to, because the advertising and marketing is not the same for everybody. It's not the same for a cash buyer looking at a $2 million home, or a buyer that's buying their first home at $300,000 doing FHA financing. It's two different people, 2 different wants, and you have to advertise and market to each of them differently.
Right. Plus, another thing that we do is we do have a team system where we have somebody that works full time for us to do the marketing. There's a lot of people don't have that, so
Yeah.
that's a big
We
difference.
have team members responsible for every part of the process.
And then we have a lot of past clients too
Yeah.
that we work with.
I hope that you guys get paid a higher commission than average because of how much work and how much more above average that you're doing. It's just amazing how much thought and forethought and planning and strategy has gone into covering the bases that most people might not even know they need covered.
Right.
And then to go, hey, we're not going to just work for a big box brokerage. We're going to start our own thing so we can be even better for our clients. I mean, you put all this together, and it just doesn't make sense to really. Even if I have a home that I'm interested in or would sell in your area, I would just at least come talk to you to begin with, even if I knew my brother was a realtor. I would still at least just have a conversation with you guys just to see what I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
We do get that.
And we encourage it. I mean, we encourage, hey, interview, talk to other agents and compare. We're just confident of what we do. We're passionate about what we do and what we bring to the table, and we have the history of the success to show for it.
If someone wanted to reach out to you, how would they get a hold of you? What's the best way to get in touch with you?
Call our office, go to our website,
Our office number is 239.
399-5432.
I forgot for a second.
And then our website is real simple, CachonRealtyGroup.com.
Yeah.
That's CACHON.
And like Nancy. Yeah.
And so one more time with the phone number.
239-399-5432.
This has been amazing. I have learned so much. Thank you both so much for coming on the show and explaining
Thanks
this.
for having us.
Thank you, John.
Is there anything else that you'd want to say kind of on the way out the door that might be helpful?
Probably want to elaborate about our customer service and that our business is from past clients.
Yeah, over 60% of our business is past clients, which says a lot for us, and referrals also. There are a lot of referral business, but
Yeah.
we don't just sell homes. We guarantee it. I mean, would probably be the best. And you're dealing with the owners and the broker of the company. You're not dealing. We do have other realtors on our team, but we're very involved on the day-to-day, always looking to improve, always looking to get better and do a better job.
We don't just sell homes, we guarantee it. The
That's
Cachon
it.
Yeah.
Realty Group, it's been a pleasure. Thank you
Thank
both
you.
so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, Chuck.